Okay. Okay, so Ozzy, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So I just want to inform you that you have been formally indicted by one of our chatters to possibly being a Darth Dawkins sycophant, which would make you a DDS. No, not a doctor of dental surgery, but a Darth Dawkins sycophant. Okay? So I hope you will be able to sleep comfortably tonight for being labeled a DDS.
Do they have the burden of proof of that?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 Only theists have the burden of proof, according to atheists.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I read that in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, actually.
Drum roll, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
no,
Ladies and gentlemen, Adrian
I am the
King is now
DDS.
in the room. He is now in the building.
I am the DDS, not Ozzy. I'm the DDS. He ain't gonna take my place.
You're the Darth Dawkins sycophant.
Yes, I am the original man. Like, how can
Well, do
Ozzy
you know
take my
that there's
place?
well, do you know there's an upper level to that? It's called DDSS, Darth Dawkins super sycophant.
Oh damn!
If
I got some work to do then. I got some work to do.
well, all you have to do to get to the DDSS level is you have to get 5 or more people per month to become members of the Darth Dawkins intergalactic, not interstellar. We've moved up from interstellar to intergalactic, so it's the Darth Dawkins intergalactic family.
Oh man,
We
yo,
should put a monthly publication.
Darth is a cool guy, man. I love him. I love him.
Darth, you should put out a monthly publication. You could call it the Dark Tower Track Society.
I should publish a book, the best arguments from atheists, and just have blank pages.
I saw that one coming.
They
all,
did
all of
something
the
like
best
that.
arguments from atheists.
They did something like that with Kamala Harris, all her accomplishments in a book.
Yeah.
It was just black pages.
Oh gosh, I mean, never in my entire life have I ever seen the most stupid, inarticulate person ever to run for the president. As much as I disdained Barack Obama for being a little closet communist, at least he was able to fake being articulate.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen any clip of Kamala Harris say anything that wasn't word salad.
You know what? Have you ever heard the expression surreal? It's beyond surreal, her level of gobbledygook.
Guys, America dodged a bullet by not
Uh,
electing that woman.
ah, ah,
You know
I
what the
mean,
funny
I'm,
thing
I'm,
is?
I'm Jamaican. I'm Jamaican. I'm here in Jamaica. I'm living in Jamaica. I mean, you guys dodged a bullet over there. A big one, too.
um, did you know? Hold on, what was I going to say? Did you hear recently that what they have now found out that many documents that Joe Biden signed were done with an auto pen? And I don't know about what the law is about this, but there's a distinct possibility that whatever documents he auto penned, they're invalid because he didn't sign it. So
What is an autopen?
And that's not hard to believe because the guy's
yeah.
brain is like a marshmallow. What can
An
he do?
auto pen was developed many years ago to replicate somebody's signature precisely, so that if, let's say, they sent out a letter from the president, okay, to somebody, if they did that, the president would be signing stuff morning, noon, and night. So they have a device called an auto pen that perfectly replicates the signature of the president.
That's
But
insane.
that means that Joe Biden didn't sign it. So I don't know what the law is, but I believe there's a possibility that every single one of those documents may be invalid.
Wow. This is like a modern day signet ring.
Well, yeah, I think it's hysterical that if that's the law, then all of the, like, for example, there's evidence that many of the pardons that he signed were done by an auto pen, so they might be invalid. And they also may, the preemptive pardons, they also may be constitutionally invalid as well.
Yeah, that's terrible. But hey,
Ladies and
I just came
gentlemen,
up here to say hi, man. I just came up here to say hi. Didn't want
thank
Ozzy
you very
taking my
much.
spot, so I'm gonna see. We'll talk soon. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks for coming by. And the leading supreme Darth Dawkins sycophant, but who respectfully disagrees with me on points, is yours truly, Precept Mars.
I'm not coming up against this guy. I'm out of here.
All right, thanks for coming. What say you, Sensei?
I got one of my fans generated or made a song for me, and I don't know. You're kind of mentioned in it for my my live, like a theme song.
Oh.
You know, like
Well, I'm disappointed. I'm not the main target.
Right?
it's heavily inspired. We took a lot of your catchphrases, like this is what.
So now we're having somebody who's eclipsing me. So soon, we already see the beginning signs of Precept Mars derangement syndrome. Okay. PMDS.
Soon I'll be backstabbing you in the Tom Rabbit Discord.
Well, one can only hope that pattern will continue. Okay, yeah. Why is this labeled as AI generated?
I feel like I should tell you this, but behind your back, Boris was repeating the rumors.
Boris, the guy who's usually reserved on Discord, the slander rumors that I'm guilty of domestic violence.
You kind of get along with him because you guys are both old as hell,
but he was actually affirming.
He said
these defense
he stated
statements.
Your whole family hates you, and they did interviews with people. And,
yeah, he doesn't. Okay, well, first of all, they don't know what they're talking about.
That's what I said.
He simply. I'll tell you. I'll tell you behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna air it in public. Okay. I can easily defend myself. Okay. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. Boris again is repeating rumors that he's heard. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that's literally an ad hominem attack. And at the same time, like something I always say is, I don't care who I learn the information from. The information is what I care about. So even if
they're basing rumors off of like anonymous posts on Reddit, so I don't see like.
Again, what you should know, and I'm going to say it right here. Okay. I will not defend myself at the expense of talking about relatives. Okay. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. So as to, when I say I use that loosely, okay. Let me put it this way. I think only under rare circumstances should you publicly be publicly at odds with family members. Okay, even if family members have wronged you and are guilty of things, it's sad that Boris is just repeating what he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, it is sad, but ultimately it's irrelevant to anything that you talk about in your lives.
Yeah.
Very friendly and all that, and then behind his back.
Yeah, he's two-faced, right out of Batman, Two-Face. No, I appreciate you telling me, because usually Boris presents himself cordially. None of these people know what they're talking about. Okay, I could right now, if I chose to, give you information that would totally explode the slander, and it would completely change people would understand why the slander is false. But I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Yeah, and literally just like the regular discussions that we have, you wouldn't have to. The burden of proof is on them.
Yeah.
Anyone hears anything like that and believes it, they have a problem with
Well,
their reason.
this is just like they can't deal with Darth in a debate, so they resort to like personal attacks. Like it doesn't. This isn't. It's not relevant, and like
Right,
it's
that's
not
why I said that.
like we all have issues with family members. Like who doesn't have an issue with a family member? You know, so it's like, why are we judging?
Like I said, I could easily defend myself at violating a principle that I think that you should not be discussing your family members. Okay? Okay, unless it's under rare special circumstances. I had a family member, a very close family member, who knows more about me than most people on this planet do. And the family member said to me, "Why are these people saying these vicious? Why are they doing these vicious lies?" I said, "Because they're crazy, immoral, slanderous, defamatory atheists, and they hate my guts." And this person knows all of the facts of my personal life, and they're like, "I don't understand why people would do this." I said, "Because they're immoral. That's why.
Yeah,
They
then
don't
you don't
care."
understand hate.
I mean,
If you don't understand,
Okay.
you don't understand hate.
I mean, it's like the same thing they did to me with that clip. It's like the same crap, right? So
Yeah. That's why I repeatedly say these people are guilty of invoking false, slanderous, and defamatory material. Okay? It's
You know, what it
slanderous
reminds
and
me of
defamatory.
that reminds me of the video that I watched where somebody, you'll remember Darth, you'll remember his name, but he was accusing you of racism, and you point by point, like
You're
literally
talking.
demolished.
You're talking about James is tired. I'm the kind of guy I like to
Yes,
have a
yes,
cup of coffee and I like to suck up and kiss the butts of atheists. And
yeah,
yeah. So Tom Rabbit has a script of bullet points of why Darth Dawkins is an atheist, and I as a Christian defender of the faith, I'm going to take the atheist script attacking Darth Dawkins, and I'm going to quote it verbatim.
yeah. That might be one of my favorite videos that I've seen, honestly. With you interacting with somebody else.
I think he got ripped to shreds on each and every one of the bullet points. I faced the music. Okay, I challenged him on every bullet point as to why they were inaccurate and false. He did not have a rebuttal to my refutation for each of the bullet points. And then at the end, he had the balls to say, "Oh, it's still a cumulative case."
Right, that was it.
I mean,
Yep. Even though
that was
one by one,
a jaw dropping case. How do you have a cumulative case when each and one of the bullet points are shown to be a misrepresentation? Okay, and a
completely
falsehood.
dismantled one at a time. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
they got a racist vibe from Darth, maybe a little bit of misogyny, but never racism.
All right, you're on my ban list for accusing me of a
Yeah,
little
I
bit of
think I think
misogyny. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I just
Now Ozzy's my new best friend.
I was literally just gonna say I think I just became
Yeah,
DDSS.
yeah. He's my okay. You've now been replaced. Ozzy's my now lead sycophant. You're not. You've been demoted. Okay. Okay, so we're looking to talk with unbelievers here. If you're intelligent and you would like to explain why your unbelief, your skepticism is reasonable, true, correct. If your skepticism is reasonable, true, correct. But they are afraid. They're very afraid. Up on stage, they're just going to be humiliated if they just try to do shtick. You have to intelligently.
The thing is, they don't have to be
Oh, look
humiliated.
at this. Look at this. Look at this. Charlie liked the live. Charlie the Smirker is trying to get on my good side by liking the live. Nice try, Charlie. The live.
Maybe he accidentally double tapped the screen.
That's Charlie the Smirker, ladies and gentlemen.
I liked it.
At least P. Mars has the dignity to have a sensei picture where he's just looking badass and cool instead of smirking.
My PFP. I didn't. I guess like Karate Kids made a comeback because of the new Netflix show.
Yeah, I like that picture. It's a good picture of Pat Morita. So we're not getting any intelligent opposition. Oh, and look at this. He's laughing now. Charlie the Smirker is mocking me, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't tolerate it.
Earth will not be mocked.
Charlie the Smirker. Okay. Oh, again, he's liking the live again. He's really trying to butter me up. Okay. All right, let's continue. Okay, so once again, the atheists will come in and they'll self-identify boldly as an atheist, but then when you ask them to explain it, they just simply shapeshift into, I'm unconvinced. That's real courage, isn't it? They're so courageous.
You know, I've actually asked myself this question because I'm a former atheist. I've been a Christian for a little over 13 years. And I've actually asked the question, like in my mind, how would I have reacted if, when I was an atheist, I was talking with Darth, how would I have reacted to the questions? And I, I'm absolutely confident that I will literally just answer the questions how you ask them. Because
Well, we
genuinely,
occasionally get a transparent skeptic, but for the most part, no.
and I think the reason why is because what's actually true is not what's a priority to people. I don't think that's what it is. But for me, that's always been what it is. Like, I genuinely care about what's true. If I'm wrong about something, I want to know
Well,
that.
most of the skeptics have a master's degree, if not higher level graduate degree, in boulder dashing and BS from a diploma mill. Okay, and I have that on good research.
When I first met Darth, I wasn't a Christian, and he precepted me, but like I wasn't an atheist, so like I just believed in like a false god. So it didn't really like go. So it didn't really like go. No, that was a different time. That was a different. No, I'm talking about like 7 years ago. I met you. You probably don't even. This was on Google Hangouts. You probably don't even remember, but I remember.
No, I think I remember very, very vaguely. Okay,
I told you that
you were using like a bicycle in your username or something like that.
No, I don't remember. I just had I think a picture. I don't remember the picture. I think it was a picture of me in a jacket, winter outfit. I don't know, but I told you that I thought like the Christian God was a demon, basically, or a liar. Or something. And then you weren't like mean to me or anything. You were just because like I wasn't like bloviating, prevaricating, obfuscating. I wasn't doing that. I was being direct with you, but you just thought I was dumb, so you just kind of like, all right.
What was your previous worldview?
I mean, I just believed in it's like I guess New Age. I believed in a higher. I didn't really have any solid beliefs. I just knew there was a God, but I didn't know. I didn't have revelation, so I didn't really know anything about God.
Mm.
Well, Danny in the audience, isn't it clear that Justin is deeply emotionally driven to say the crap that he does? He claims that he went to graduate school, seminary. If any of you can find out what this alleged seminary that he went to was and to what extent he completed curriculum, I would love to know that answer. But Justin comes across more of a teenage mentality than anything else. I have listened to him completely misrepresent scriptural texts. Okay, and it's just unbelievable. That's extremely common. Okay, when people get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, there's a tendency for them not only to defect from being a so-called professing or practicing Christian, but in certain instances, because of their emotional makeup, they have a vendetta, and then they vicariously are getting even by persistently attacking Christianity.
Alternative lifestyle. I'm saying, you can't
Yeah,
say it on TikTok. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there are a couple of different alternative lifestyles. We can all use our imagination.
Right. Yeah.
And that wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay. There are some people who
Always.
get. There are sometimes people have been actually been involved. First of all, whenever atheists give me a testimony of how they were in ministry, um, I don't take that seriously at all because I have found that they tend to exaggerate, embellish things. Not that it's not true, but when there are instances where people are in some type of ministerial service, and then they become atheists, it's extremely common they get caught in sexual violations of some kind. I don't mean illegal. And then the religious body that they're dealing with takes actions, and they become emotional. They have an emotional vendetta, and they're just getting a vicarious satisfaction of getting even, although they're not directly getting even with the body politic or the actual group of people that caught them.
That reminds me of something that I've heard Matt Dillabloviator.
Thank you for
So
pronouncing that correctly.
you taught me that. I can't. I mean, dozens, if not more, times on various episodes where he would tell people, "I spent a year in sincere study to become a preacher," but he's never once explained
A
what he
year, a
did
year, a
to
year is
become.
nothing. A year is
Well, not
nothing.
only that, not only that, he never explained what that meant. The only thing he's ever said is, "I spent all this time in sincere study to become a preacher," but he only referenced studying the Bible. He never
So
referenced
yeah,
anything
yeah.
of seminary or.
This is why they lack specificity in terms of
Uh,
their background. Okay.
there's a video where he's actually confronted by people from his old church, and he gets into stuff a little bit in that video.
Are you talking about with Mike Lycona?
I don't. He's on stage, and someone asked him a question from his old church. I don't.
Yeah, that was a debate with him and Mike Lycona,
Okay. I don't know.
and
I'll have to look that up.
yeah, so it was an unapologetics conference, I think is what it was called. But yeah, they were doing a debate between the debate topic was the resurrection, and yeah, at the end of the debate, there's Q&A period where somebody came up from Harvester Church, which was where the church he grew up with, and the gentleman who asked the question, who was an older gentleman, he said, when you were there, you were one of the brightest stars. We thought you were going to go on and do great things for Christ. So that was like after that happened on several episodes, Matt brought that guy up several times. This people were convinced I was saved. I was a Christian. I sincerely believed all that stuff. But when he's talking about, I spent time because he lost a job at I think whatever computer company it was. It might have been IBM after leaving the Navy. He said, I spent sincere time studying to become a preacher. But he never says what he was
What does that
doing.
even mean? Look,
Exactly. He never
let's
said.
let's take Joshua Bowden as an example, who I find him utterly contemptible. At least his background is credible. Okay, he gives specificity. He attended Capital Bible Seminary, and I think he graduated. Okay, with a master's. Capital Bible Seminary, from what I have known it in years gone past, is a good seminary. Although sometimes they go corrupt, but as far as I know, Capital Bible Seminary was a legit thing. So I don't doubt that. I suspect that when he moved on, Um, you know that he's on his second marriage, right? Okay. So I think there's more than meets the eye about people's background that they're willing to be honest about. Have you guys seen Matt Dillabloviator's complete tirade and meltdown about mommy and daddy sending him a birthday card with Bible verses on it?
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's classic. We should all watch that once a year.
I could play that sometime.
Yeah, we should watch it every year and do an online stream of our commentary on Matt Dillabloviator's birthday. Okay. But speaking of alternative lifestyles, we shouldn't be surprised that Matt Dillabloviator is an advocate and a participant in alternative lifestyles.
Yeah. Gosh dang, I can't remember. I can't remember the name of.
Do
I
you know
can't
what
say that.
Matt Dillahunty's favorite science fiction movie? Hunty's favorite science fiction movie, Formers. You know, there's a series of movie about the trans. You know, there's a series of movie about the trans. He's a big fan of the Transformers.
Fox is in one of those. In my book was saying how like we're because we're in like this mass society, people can feel like sort of powerless. Like there's all these forces beyond their understanding, kind of guiding and control. Power and control over their lives.
Yeah, it's a spirit of defiance.
Yeah.
By the way, we have an accuser in the audience who's saying that you ran from the Ian who wears a dead animal on his head.
He hit me up. I was in his chat and I just typed LOL atheism, and then he invited me on stage, and then I just left because I don't know. I've talked to him before, and the guy's just a liar. So if you want to call that running, I mean,
You know what's sad? He says he's 24, yet when you listen to him and all that, he's not at all intellectually sophisticated.
I would explain it like this. This is my position. I feel like if someone, like, I equate Ian in the group of like a flat earther, and I feel like I can't. For me to try to reason with a flat earther, that would be irrational of me to do that. And so I feel like if I were to try to reason with Ian, that would be irrational.
Yeah, I've attempted in good faith to interact with him, okay, on a number of occasions, and every time he just ends up literally acting like an imbecile. And a number of occasions he's resorted to making slanderous and defamatory statements about calling me a C-3PO. Okay, so I mean, what kind of piece of garbage makes that type of accusation when he knows it's not true?
If you feel like I'm running from him, like I'm cool with that, because like I'm detached from like worldly stuff. So if like the world thinks I'm stupid or like a coward, I don't care what the world thinks of me. I only care what God thinks of me. So you're welcome to think I ran away.
For sure, man.
No, that's not curly hair on Ian. It's some type of dead animal. Okay, who probably maybe it was skinned or whatever, but that's not real hair.
So this is just random. But the way I became a Christian, it was through evidential apologetics. But later on, when I learned presuppositional apologetics, it made more sense to me. But it took evidential apologetics for me to.
It's evidentialism isn't wrong entirely. It's just
Right.
a flawed presentation. You will hear me repeatedly saying the world exemplifies ultimate design and intentionality.
Mhm.
And evidentialists would say, hoorah, right? But they're not cashing out the indication of design.
That was me. That was me. And I didn't understand that until I learned it. But
Yeah,
that was
it's
me.
not that they're wrong.
Me.
It's not that they're wrong. Present the world being emblematic of God probabilistically.
Right.
Okay.
Which is what Craig does.
At big time. Yeah, on steroids. This is the mistake that when you have evidentialists read Romans 1 and you point out that Paul is presenting the evidence in a presuppositional way, that there's no
Yes.
alternative. Paul is not saying that ever since the beginning of the creation of the world, God's eternal powers and His divine nature is the best explanation among many. And no, he doesn't say that. He says it's the only explanation.
Right.
When he says they are without a defense, which means there's no other alternative. You see, the evidentialist will pull things, they will say, and Frank Turk does this, they'll confront unbelievers that they have no objective grounding to their morals. But then they stop. If there's no objective grounding for morals, then there's no objective grounding for saying the sky is blue in a world without reference to God.
Right.
Don't understand that. That's an entailment to moral anti-realism. They just.
Yeah.
Some of them outright admit that. Some of them have no problem at all admitting that, which is, I mean,
Well,
they'll
you
admit
have
it.
to understand that unless we steep ourselves into scriptural thought and remove, as that great psychotherapist Stuart Smalley, okay, the ever brilliant Stuart Smalley says we get rid of that stinking thinking. So you guys know who Stuart Smalley is?
I do not.
Okay, you'll have to look him up. He's a character. He's an effeminate psychotherapist played by Al Franken.
Oh, on Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes, I do.
As much as I disdain Al Franken for his politics, Al Franken's he's a funny guy. And if you've never seen Stuart Saves His Family, it's a very amusing and funny movie. It's not a knee slapper, but it's funny.
Okay, I'm kind.
Check. Well,
I'd say
I'm just saying it for my taste. I find it amusing because I have a great deal of disdain for psychotherapy.
If I compare him to like a Phil Hartman, it's like night and day. I think Phil Hartman like sky.
Phil Hartman, I completely agree with you in terms of his performance talent. I completely agree with you. It's just that whenever people take shots at the world of psychiatry and psychotherapy, I get a big kick out of it. So, but anyway,
so comedy snob, Darth. So yeah, I'm kind of a comedy snob.
Oh, I agree with you. Phil Hartman was just through the roof, just comedy gold.
It's terrible that what happened to his wife and all that.
Well, that's what happens when you end up with somebody who's using the substances that she was.
Yep.
Phil Hartman was just, oh my gosh. One of my favorite pieces that he did was Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer. I love that.
And he was a voice on The Simpsons. He was Troy McClure on the. He was amazing on The Simpsons too.
I loved his Clinton. His Bill Clinton was just top notch.
Yeah,
poor Phil Hartman.
Was pretty good too.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There was a show, News Radio, a sitcom, where Phil Hartman was.
Oh yes.
And it was an amazing show. And then when the wife thing happened, they had to replace him with, I think, John Lovitz. And it was the show was just terrible. Yeah. Like he made
John Lovitz, but John Lovitz is not an adequate replacement for Phil Hartman.
Oh, it's crazy when the show is really good, and then the one guy leaves, and it's like falls off the cliff. So that just shows you how talented he is.
Yeah, Phil Hartman was a special comic performer, without a doubt. Okay, so back to where what we were saying here. Yeah, so we have to steep ourselves in biblical thinking, and even Christians can succumb to worldly thinking. So that's why Paul says we are destroying all speculations. So when Craig says God is the best explanation of why things exist, how does that square with Romans 1? Does Paul say that God is the best explanation? Or is Paul very clearly saying, no, God is the only explanation?
Yeah, only. Yep, 120.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It says they are without a defense. Well, if something is the only explanation and there are no alternatives, then it's inappropriate and wrong to say that it's the best when it's the only explanation. Okay? You see, if something is best, it means it's superior to one or more alternatives that have some viability.
That's a really good scripture to reference for presuppositional apologetics. So I watched, and I've seen it a few times, but I tend to watch things over and over. Um, Mike Winger and Saichen Bruggencate, they were discussing presuppositional apologetics because Mike Winger.
I don't. Mike Winger, he bothers me.
Well, I'm just saying in that dialogue, Romans 120 never came up, which is now surprising to me.
I'm surprised that Cy didn't bring it up.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mike Winger. I think he's wishy-washy on stuff. Yeah, Fire Alchemist. What you just wrote is just stupidity. It's just teenage parody there. But if you want to come up and substantively defend that, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, stop spamming my chat with.
And I thought George
So,
Carlin was pretty funny.
George Carlin was funny, but even in his comical piece about God, he's completely bastardizing the biblical model.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. I mean,
I mean, just you
absolutely
know,
strong man.
yeah. I mean, the way he did it, this misrepresentation, it was funny, but at the same time, it's utterly blasphemous because he's not actually representing the truth. In other words, Carlin is upset that God lays down some rules for his creation. All right, all right, and because God, he's failing to see George Carlin, and I feel bad for him now because he's dead and
Yep.
he's awaiting Judgment Day, and he knows this. Is when he talks about God is going to send you to hell, but then he goes, but he loves you. Okay, he's blaspheming God, even though he does it in a humorous stand-up comedian way. He's
Hmm.
completely misrepresenting the biblical model. Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's absolutely strong man. The like Christian theology for sure.
Well, when
Yeah,
you
that
do a
was
parody, or a caricature of something, even though it's false, it can be very funny. But when we look at the content of it, he's look. The biblical model teaches that God is perfect in all respects. And so, because God is perfect and right, there's no flaw in God. God is the essence of all that is to be glorified and to be worshiped because of the magnitude of his greatness. Right? That is something that even for all eternity we will never entirely capture. We will ever increasingly understand more and more, but we will never cease to learn about the greatness of God's being perfect. So when George Carlin is making a caricature of God, making a caricature of God, by blaspheming him as though God were a man, going, follow
Right.
these rules or I'm going to send you to hell. If you don't follow these rules I'm giving to you, but I love you. I mean, this is okay, because
And that
God
was
does.
exactly what he said.
Yeah,
Right
I
before that,
know.
that's exactly what he said. There's an
It's a
invisible man living in the
yeah.
sky.
There's an invisible God, but it's a caricature. Okay, you know, we could do the same thing without caricaturizing naturalism or materialism, and do some really funny stuff that's way funnier than his character of God.
Character of Justin. Did you ever watch any of those videos?
No,
Sometimes I watch. I like make myself laugh. I like watch them.
look, I remember one Bible teacher that I listened to years ago. He says parents need to communicate to their children that the rules that they give are not just simply to be rules to be followed, but they function as guardrails to ultimately protect us from various types of harm. Okay, not just physical harm, but mental and emotional harm as well. And God's rules are like guidelines and guardrails to keep us as individuals and as a collective humanity from harming ourselves. That's why God has a limitation on sexual acts, okay, to prevent harm, okay? Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that video with Justin and Tim Pool, okay?
Tim Pool is insufferable. He kind of ruins it. I don't like him.
Yeah. Well, anyone know how old Justin is? Because when I do listen to him, he comes across as very immature.
I don't think I'm familiar with who that is.
He does Deconstruction Zone on TikTok and on YouTube.
I don't think I've
And
come across him.
look at the people that he cozies up to. Dr. Blitch that he is, and the Ian, the dead animal wearing on his head guy.
Oh, I should have put that in the song.
What,
Maybe.
the dead animal on his head?
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Welcome, 13th Disciple. Do you accept God as your creator?
Yes, I do. I do. Darth,
Which God do you believe in?
the Christian God.
Go ahead, sir.
You recommended the book, the Return of the God Hypothesis.
Well, I haven't read it yet. In the beginning throes of reading it. If it's by Stephen Meyer, it's good. That doesn't mean that I won't criticize it in certain points. But the basic information you're going to get is going to be good about things indicating design.
I got the book. I just started reading it. It's good so far. I didn't know if you read it and if you had any critiques on anything.
I'm sorry. I was just I just got a notification. They said I'm invoking stuff that is restricted or something. It was weird.
Okay.
Oh, I know why. Because I said DEAD, and then what followed?
Well,
I'm sorry.
that means they won't promote your live until you restart your live.
Okay. Well, I don't care at this point. We only have 31 people here. So 13th Disciple, repeat your last statement.
No problem. So I picked up the book. I started reading it, but I was going to ask you if you had any critiques on it, but you haven't read it yet. So,
Well, I generally know a lot of the stuff or the type of information. So he's an evidentialist. I mean, I like Stephen Meyer. I mean, I would love to sit down and have lunch with him and all that. But he's still an evidentialist. He's not a presuppositionalist. So
right.
he's going to be presenting these things that are indicative or emblematic of design, but he's going to be presenting them in an abductive way, that they're an inference to the best explanation rather than they're the only explanation. All right. But
Right.
setting that issue aside, his material is worthy of reading because the things that he's pointing out do indicate design.